Dear Bramblings, it's your Uncle Luke here. Alright guys, here we are, the second part of the body dysmorphia conversation I am having with my old Irish dance friend, Alexandra Fuller. Now, in this conversation, we are going to be diving more specifically into body stigma and the media's influence. Also, we are going to be talking about some strategies on how to take care of yourself, as that is something I commonly do in the My Irish Dance Stories series. I just wanted to, again, give a wholehearted thank you to Alexandra for popping onto the podcast here with me and having a really meaningful conversation with me about this topic, as it is, it's very hard for me. You know, without any further ado, I think let's just dive into the conversation, and I will see you guys on the other side.
Hello,
Hi,
I've returned.
welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. In the last little bit before the break, we were just talking a lot about Irish dance and how our relationships with our bodies are so connected to it. It's such a healing conversation, so thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's been meaningful for me as well.
Yeah. But in this next part, I was just hoping to talk a little bit about body image stigma in media and all of that.
Yeah, that's a big topic.
That's a huge topic, and it's complicated. No, there's a song that I actually sent you. It's called Feel Good by Ryan Nielsen. And when I hear that song, I just feel far too seen. I feel like crying every single time. I was just curious, before I ask some more of the more meaningful questions, did you hear that song? Do you have any thoughts of that song?
Yeah, I didn't actually have a chance to listen to it, but I
Okay.
found myself thinking about the because you had sent me one lyric, and I just found myself every time I kind of looked over what you had sent me, just being kind of struck with that, and yeah, just thinking about it.
Yeah, in the song it says, "'Cause I'm still the punchline of childhood jokes, 'cause I carry dead weight and it shows."
Mhm.
So, what have you noticed about the stigma around bodies and how it should look in
Yeah.
media and society?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm hyper aware of this in a way that's like not fun because I'm like so I've just shifted my view of what health actually is so much that I just see how quick we are to talk about weight and weight loss. And maybe I should even preface this section with like almost like a warning of like probably going to be covering these kind of topics because that is what is so pervasive and that can be really triggering for people.
Absolutely.
But there's two things happening. Like one is the culture that we grew up in, that our parents grew up in. There's just this really intense pursuit of fitness
Yes.
and weight loss and health being very much tied to body composition.
Yes.
And then there's also this whole body positivity or body neutrality movement that is coming in, or even a movement called the health at every size movement,
Mm.
which is focusing on health outside of weight. And I think with that, and where we're seeing, there's been a lot of activism about like, you don't see a larger person, or even it's okay with you because the communities that are fighting for change prefer to talk about fat and thin and just have fat be a neutral term.
Right.
And so I've been unlearning that in myself. So like, you don't see a fat person in a leading role or a fat person in a role in a TV show where their weight is not the butt of the joke. Like there's very few shows where that is not like a part of their character.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always like something that's kind of mentioned or whatever. And so I think there's been a bit of a push. So we're starting to see more like body diversity in advertisements, even when it comes to ability status, where they're starting to include models on the runway that are in wheelchairs or things like that. And so there's more inclusion, but there is still a lot of stigma around weight. And most everyone I know struggles if they don't fit the conventional beauty standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually there was a few days ago, actually September 29th. I wrote down the time. At 9:40 p.m., I went
Mm-hmm.
onto YouTube and I was just noticing the YouTube shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And based off whatever algorithm YouTube works off of, these are the shorts that YouTube thought that I would enjoy. And so the first thing that I'm seeing is Daniel Radcliffe as the new Wolverine is a picture of him just like having these huge muscles, posing shirtless with this facial expression that just resembles like "What's up?"
Yeah.
Like he's looking like beast mode. I have Saif Shawarf's "Make Me Blush, Take $20 videos,"
Mm-hmm.
or sometimes he also does the like "Make Me Laugh,
Mm-hmm.
Make Me Cringe," and I find these videos really like wholesome, but
Mm-hmm.
at the exact same time, I can't not look at the fact that he's quite an attractive person,
Mm-hmm.
and that probably helps him get a lot of views.
Yeah.
And then what also came up was Zeth, which is the father daughter YouTube podcast, which is
Mm-hmm.
just so cute and honestly
Oh,
goals.
the curly haired dad and the little, yeah, they're cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cute. And yeah, they're honestly goals for me. Like that's just,
yeah.
I love it. But at the same time, maybe this is just my conditioned
Hmm.
body dysmorphic brain, but I just noticed this dad as this slim, attractive man.
Yeah.
The Barbie movie's funniest moments. So it's essentially just this picture of Ryan Gosling, but in the picture he has no buttons done up on his shirt. He's showing his physique, and I
Hmm.
know that Ken dolls are not supposed to be realistic bodies, but it's all I see,
Yeah.
right? And then we got another short that came up, which was Sam and Monica telling my husband I'm his dessert. So it's in a video of an attractive, clean-shaven, flawless, fancy-looking man with
Mm.
a watch on his wrist, and it's this like point of view style where the wife's like, "Well, you're my dessert,"
Mm.
and then he's just like, "Ah, stop it! No,
Mm.
what? Well, we're gonna go do something now,"
Hmm.
and I can see it being just like this funny, endearing little moment
Hmm.
between a couple that's in love, but again, what am I seeing?
Hmm.
I'm seeing someone that does not look like me and
Hmm.
someone that is apparently a goal or some sort of expectation that I'm supposed to achieve.
Hmm.
What I also find really fascinating about at least my perspective or my journey of whatever this is that I find a lot of women deal with body image issues.
Hmm.
And I don't remember where I read this from, but I learned that one of the greatest shame triggers in women is body image.
Hmm.
And I just find that so funny because that's my greatest shame trigger.
Hmm. Yeah.
What does that make me? Does that make me less of a man? Does that make me
Hmm.
less masculine?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This like weird backwards, like, hold on, what does that say about me? And that is so interesting because I think that, I mean, yeah, women in general, there's been maybe more restrictive views of like what a woman should look like or whatever, but I don't know if it's that different. I think men are socialized not to go there or not to
Mm-hmm.
think about that or you hear of the person who's a little maybe like chubby or and they're just like, well, it's just like funny, like they're just a funny guy now. And
Yes.
so there's this like kind of identity shift. But when I talk with my male clients and I think of some of my close like male friends, like brothers, like body is really actually a big issue, like a really uncomfortable thing and a place of shame to feel like their
Mm-hmm.
body is not the chiseled, Simu Liu, Ryan Gosling.
And that's another really great little segue into an Instagram reel that I
Hmm.
came across that so rudely just showed itself in front of my face. But
The algorithm sometimes is like, do you want to be harmed? Here you go.
yeah, right. And what this Instagram reel was essentially showing was this man shirtless with no with like yeah, just looking perfect, big muscles and all that, and he's essentially saying all men should have abs. All men should be getting towards 10% body fat. Why should we be working towards this goal? Well, that's because you'll look more athletic, you'll feel better in your body, you'll get your jawline coming in, you'll be more confident. I literally shut off my phone. I threw it onto my bed and I walked out the door and I did another walk.
Mm, yeah.
And this walk was not one of those like, oh fuck, you just ripped me open. Actually, no, it was that.
Yeah.
But except it was not from like consent and from a place of healing. This was like
Hmm.
almost just like forcing it upon me
Yeah.
without my choice.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other good word, but it was almost just like a visual rape of some sort or like a shame.
Yeah. It sounds like it was very violating.
Yeah, it was. Why do you think people feel as though they can say this? Like,
Uh, there is such a pervasive weight bias in our culture. And like it is so insidious. And it becomes one of those things where if being fit, thin, whatever is equated with health, then it makes it okay to talk about fat as bad or weight loss being important or watching what you eat or like it gives people the sense of permission, like I'm doing a good thing. And probably part of it too was this like they get views, right? Unfortunately, if you are an asshole, you'll get views
yeah,
because either people will be upset with you or people will be like, yeah, like man up, which is stupid. No one needs to man up, man down, honestly. Like let's just take a break.
yeah.
But there's this like pervasive view of what is healthy. So it gives people the sense of like, yeah, that's what you should do. Because I did watch that reel because you sent it to me and was like, I want to talk about this. And I just found myself being like, so many of these things are also not like it said you'll be more confident, but the reason you'll feel more confident is because you're adhering to a standard that has been placed on you by culture. And it's not actually a healthy standard. And it's a standard that is generally rooted in a white European like centric body type. It is,
Yes.
it's not, there's different cultures, different places in the world. You see very different types of bodies, but the bodies that we see as important are this kind of like white European, slim, everything's shapely where it's supposed to be and not where it's not supposed to be.
No, what you're making me think about is addiction in
Mm-hmm.
some fascinating way. Recently, one of the areas of support that I've been working at is a halfway house for addiction. And sometimes when we think about recovery, we think about someone as being released from their addiction. But I think in reality, recovery is just I've eliminated the substance, but I
Mm-hmm.
haven't eliminated the shame.
Yeah.
And what happens is sometimes addicts will eliminate the substance, but then they'll find something else to be addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of the times they choose fitness as this addiction
Yep.
to fuel this thing that is still not quite healed.
Yeah.
Even saying that, I think people without having had suffered from substance abuse have this addiction mindset when it comes to a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really label themselves as an addict because they've never experienced, a harmful behavior,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, it actually reminds me of I was once talking to my brother about something and he was like, "Well, what did he say? Like you didn't like act out the way I did or like something because he's gone through some stuff and we have as a family, but I think what I said to him was that my suffering was just more socially acceptable because it's socially acceptable to be thin It's socially
Mm-hmm.
acceptable to work really, really hard and to never take a break and to work multiple jobs and put yourself through school. Good for you. Like you're doing it all. And it's like that's actually it's the root that's unhealthy. So even, for people who use substances, the behavior is like a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's underneath that is driving it. And so often what we see is people with lots of issues kind of just shifting or using health as a way to stay unhealthy without realizing. Or even when I talked earlier about this like self-deception of using that as a way to like we deceive ourselves into thinking this is good. But
Mm-hmm.
then in reality you're tracking your macros constantly and you're aware of how many Weight Watchers points are on your food or whatever, and you like feel guilty because you didn't go to the gym, and then it's like that's actually not healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, and even some of those people might be taking steroids.
Yeah.
Maybe they're even snorting cocaine in the back
Yeah.
in order to get enough energy. They're dehydrating themselves to the brink of death. It just feels like a prison.
Absolutely. And I'll say I feel like I even see this in with mental health, which is my area, right? Like with clients or people who talk about who know enough terminology and theory to actually avoid transformation, because
Mm.
transformation is surrender to the like nitty gritty, gross, like out of control, like kind of weird experience, but it's very much a discomfort.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people will just use all of these things, health and fitness, as a way of avoiding true transformation and healing. Because in order to heal, you have to face the pain first.
Oh gosh, my word. I yeah, after having talked about all of what has been said,
Mhm.
I now am starting to ask myself, like, how can we help ourselves? How can we give ourselves some care
Yeah,
in a world that is constantly telling us that we're not enough,
yeah,
that our bodies are not attractive enough?
hmm
In the podcast, I've actually taken some moments of reflection and awareness to realize, like, whoa, I talk about language a lot and like the importance of
hmm
words and how they shape our psychology, and how our words and our own language is a great way of like separating ourselves from shame. And I noticed that in your blog, The Skin You're In, you were actually mentioning Hillary McBride,
hmm
but she suggests using a pronoun for your body
hmm
instead of saying like my body.
hmm
Why is this technique so powerful?
hmm Yeah, yeah. It's this idea of yeah, using a pronoun. So like whatever resonates with you. For mine, my body's pronoun would be she. It's this way of acknowledging that my body is a being, right? She's living. She's
Mm-hmm.
carrying me through this day. It's also it's a lot easier to hate an item than it is to hate a living entity.
Yes.
Yeah, when I consider my body as a she, like today she was telling me she wasn't feeling super well earlier, and that was kind of weird. And then
Mm-hmm.
she started to feel better, and right now she's actually telling me like this feels really good. It feels good to talk about these things and to explore them and to reconnect with someone I haven't seen in a long time who knew me during a very formative time period of my life. And
Mm-hmm.
she's communicating all that to me. And when you put like a pronoun on top of it just kind of shifts your perspective to, wow, like, look at what she's telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also makes me think of archetypal language.
hmm
I recently did a course learning a bit about archetypal language,
hmm
and this course centered around the four archetypes of the masculine self, but I think it could be incorporated for anyone in all genders. But essentially, the process or the modality of thinking this way is to take your problems and to anthropomorphize them
hmm
into a little character or another being,
hmm
and giving them a pronoun, a name,
hmm
an image, and learning to talk to them in a way that could be more loving, right? Or just learn what they're trying to say. Why are they speaking out? Why are they trying to weave themselves into my being so often,
Hmm.
and a lot of people call this like shadow work.
Hmm.
And I think it's really powerful because what it taught me is that my problems are the problem and I'm not the problem,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Like I'm perfect just the way I am.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like a externalization kind of
Hmm.
this, it's no longer me, it's them.
And it's like creating this wedge in between that personalization of my flaws,
Hmm.
right? Like I no longer am I saying like I hate my body. I could say my masochistic shadow tells me
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
I should be hating my body.
Yeah. Even as you say that, I think of how, again, in our society, we are very much trained to see things that are maybe negative or bad as a problem. And
Mm,
I almost want to, like, when you talk about that masochistic shadow that wants you to know your body is bad, I also like wonder how much of that is actually trying to protect you by telling
mhm.
you that it perceives something that's not okay based on what society has told you. And so, like, I think so many of the things we think are problems are often things that are very much trying to like protect us in some way or help us conform so that we can feel safe in society and feel good and like we matter, but they're like miswired or like,
It's like a symptom.
yeah.
No, that's just, I think for me, my body,
Hmm.
their pronouns could be he, him.
Hmm.
What is he telling me? Um, that I should straighten up my back. That the coffee I've been drinking is really comforting, but it's also kind of setting me into a little jumpy state.
Hmm.
Um, I think he's feeling a lot of relief, a lot of relief right now that I've gotten the chance to talk about this story and to
Hmm.
reconnect as well. And that he was in the right for being nervous at the
Hmm.
beginning of this podcast. And not because of any like actual perceived threat, but because this is kind of like slicing me open and
Yeah.
really just publicly telling people what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And there's a gratitude for that nervousness because right now I get to feel this relief.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And as you say that, right, that's all that your body is telling you.
Yeah.
Like your body was warning you with some nerves that, okay, this could be dangerous because you're going to expose yourself.
Yes.
And like we can honor that and thank your body for telling you. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
in another situation, yeah, you might not want that, right? You want to listen to
Yeah.
that. Whereas in this one, you were able to have the feeling, steward it, choose to go through anyway, and then feel relief
Mm.
on the other side in the sense of, okay, it was okay. And
Yeah.
maybe felt meaningful or whatever. But yeah, your body's
Mm.
communicating all of these things just to
Yeah.
help you. Like it's always like your body always has your back.
My body is also part of my back too.
Yeah, yeah. It's all connected.
I love that. Also in your blog though, you had a blessing or like a prayer.
Yeah,
Is it okay if I read that to you?
yeah, I would love that.
May you find goodness in the flesh that contains you, the spine that holds you, and the shoulders that tell you you're carrying too much. May you find fullness in being in the curve of your smile, the ache of your feet, and the sweat of your palms. May you dare to inhabit fully the dwelling of your being and find love, sweet, kind, radical love, at home in you. Ooh, aw, don't cry, Luke. But I want to.
Yeah, what's your body telling you with the tears?
It's just needed.
Yeah.
Something like this is so needed.
Hmm.
I am curious how these words came to you and what
Yeah.
inspired you to write this prayer. And
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, I mean, this piece came from my Substack newsletter, which goes out once a month. And I always try and include a benediction or a blessing, like some sort of prayer to end with, just as a, I don't know, it just it feels relational to me, it feels connected to me, and it just feels right in my spirit. And I
mm-hmm,
remember this one being maybe a little bit more tricky to write but at the same time, not. Like it felt like the words came, but I just was kind of hunting for these phrases or things that would communicate like the goodness of our body in all states, like the sweat of our palms or the ache or you're carrying too much, but also like smiling.
Yes.
Um, and that no matter what state your body is in, there is love that that is there
Mm-hmm.
at the core. Um, and everyone has different views of kind of existence. But for me, I do believe in God. And so for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's what love is a sense of like there's divine goodness at the center of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how heavy my shoulders are, no matter, if I'm smiling so much my cheeks hurt, like it's just so joyful. Like that
Mm-hmm.
radical love is still there. And
Yeah.
I and I and I want to let it be at home in me. And so I think that's kind of like where these words came from, and just kind of hoping and praying for a world where we all live like that, where that
Yeah.
shame is gone, where that, all the crap that we feel about our bodies, like as we heal our relationships with our bodies individually, I believe that we heal our community collectively because our
Mm.
bodies are how we relate to each other. Our bodies are how we experience one another. And, as we take off that weight stigma and all of that stuff, we're just better positioned to love.
Oh. You know what's funny? What also comes up for me though when I read it is authenticity.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
the audacious desire to show up exactly as you are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and not letting anyone convince you that you're less than
Mhm.
in any way.
Yeah.
And I think, in a sense, authenticity or being truly authentic to who you are and belonging to yourself is where love grows,
Hmm.
love for ourselves. And yeah, I just think it's really beautiful. And I think what I want to do is maybe just like copy paste it at the
Hmm.
bottom of the
Yeah.
podcast and just have everyone
Mm.
have a little prayer about their bodies that they
Hmm.
can stay to themselves and
Yeah.
show ourselves some of that compassion that we so desperately need.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
It's so funny how at the end of every single episode of the My Irish Dance story, somehow all roads lead back to self-compassion.
Yep.
And
Uh-huh.
that's something that I say to my counselor all the time. He just asks me like, so like what do you think we need to do to like better this? And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. You're like, great. I have to go here again, don't I? I have to actually like care for myself. Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is like the most like humbling and honoring thing is to actually have compassion for yourself and for others, and this ability to honor our experiences without, having to justify them. Even like when it comes to pain, like I think there's often this like justification, like why did it bother you that your dance teacher said that? And it's like
Mm,
because it wasn't okay, and your body was telling you at the time it wasn't okay, and your body is telling you now that it wasn't okay. And
yeah. I think
um
it's also a statement of here's why you shouldn't love yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. Like it's so much bigger than just what they said. It was all the implied messaging that you got. And so having self-compassion for you now, even, right? Like when you talk about like, am I just messed up? And it's like, no, you have a wound because of
Hmm.
things that were said to you and repeated, and they were significant moments. And so you have a wound, and can you have compassion on that wound, knowing that it will shift and change over time as you heal and grow, but it's there to tell you that it wasn't okay. Yeah. And so then that's where like self-compassion comes in. Sucks,
Hmm.
honestly. It's like beautiful, but also like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, something that I've been doing, because I have such a complicated relationship with mirrors,
mhm,
is I've been taking a dry erase marker
mm,
and I've been writing kind things to myself
I
on
love
that
that.
marker.
Yeah.
So currently on my mirror, I'm actually looking at it right now. It says, "You're skinnier than you think. I forgive you, Luke. I
Mm,
love you, Luke.
wow.
I'm proud of you, and you're the best Luke in the world."
Oh.
And then I also, oh, that part's kind of covered up. That's okay.
Yeah.
I wrote something else on my
Yeah.
other mirror, just like so much gratitude for just being alive and
Yeah. Wow.
how I intend to be living the longest life I can.
I love that.
Um,
Yeah. Which like
and
what a testament to yourself, right? When you talk about in your other episodes of the times where that wasn't a commitment you would have made.
yeah,
Like what a testament to that version of you to say, no, I'm alive.
I mean, yeah, in the second part, I talk about the times I wanted to kill myself
Hmm.
and having witnessed death firsthand. What a
Yeah.
great way to completely destroy those thoughts in the most loving way.
Yeah.
At the same time, I am deeply wounded from that experience, and I think I'm going to be wounded for a while.
Yeah.
And one of those wounds is extreme existentialism.
Yep. That'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about death so much and
Hmm.
how it terrifies me, and how, on the flip side of that coin, I am so grateful to be alive. But it's almost like pumped to the extreme where it starts to hurt and it
Yeah.
starts to be like, I think I've had enough, but I can't stop thinking about it for some reason.
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
exist without thinking about not existing.
That's a good quote. I like that. And I could probably use a dose of that too, because life is so weird. Like it is just so, why are we here?
Hmm.
What, at the end of the day, like what is the point of any of this? What is the point of your body size? Like, does it matter? Like,
No.
no, like what matters is being here. And
Hmm.
actually, speaking of John O'Donohue, he says something along the lines of like, it is strange to be here. And
Yeah.
it is strange to be here. And it's sometimes really grating to my mind that I can't figure out why or how or what that looks like when we're not here. But it's strange to be here, and I'll just embrace being here for as long as I can.
Well, with all that being said, I'm just curious, would you be down to do a little rapid fire to kind of wrap things up?
Yes, absolutely. A fun tone
Yeah.
shift. Although knowing me, it might not be because sometimes I
Oh
just
no.
take things too deep.
Let's if the rapid fire goes even deeper, let's go. I'm fine with that.
Perfect.
But yeah, what does vulnerability mean to you?
Yeah. Vulnerability means exposing yourself when you don't
Hmm.
want to, ideally around safe people who are able to hold it. And so that you end feeling cared for, not exposed and displayed wide open.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Whew. Yeah, that makes me really think about Pema Chodron's definition of compassion, where it's like not a relationship between the wounded and the healer. It's a relationship between equals, and it's
Mm.
knowing your darkness well enough to sit with others in theirs.
Yeah. I love that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Now, because it's me, and I
Hmm.
have to ask this
Yep.
question, it's been one of my missions to get an answer from everyone. But do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Wonderful question. So I was like hemming and hawing over this because I'm not very Pokemon literate, but I have played Pokemon. Like I've played
Okay.
Arceus, I don't know,
Oh
the
yeah,
new
yeah.
one, and we have Sword and Shield or the other one. I can't remember. Everything comes out
Okay.
in two versions. So either way, I was thinking about this and then I realized that when I was playing Pokemon, the most recent time, I was really, for some reason, connected to my Quagsire.
Oh.
I don't know why, but we just had a good bond going on. He was my best mate, so we'll roll with Quagsire. Although I also love
Oh.
the pretty like Ninetales, like
Oh hell yeah.
pretty thing. Yeah.
Oh, so cute. Ah, I love that. Oh, thank you. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
So this is the thing. I would love to, but I think I don't know if I do. I'm so like I don't know. I love things that are like nostalgic for me. So like I love like the Princess Diaries. Like I'll watch that multiple times a year, just like it always hits.
Yes.
Or like the Lizzie McGuire movie, things from my childhood. Um,
Yeah.
I also, this is very weird, but I grew up watching MASH,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is like a show from the 70s. It has not aged well. Like I've recently started rewatching it. I do still love it because I think for the time it was pretty progressive, but like it's pretty misogynistic in lots of ways. And,
Mm,
there's a lot of things where it's like it would not hold up today. However, that being said, because it's so familiar to me and funny,
yeah.
and that would probably be my like fallback TV show.
Okay.
But note for it was the 70s. Okay. It
Yeah.
was not a time of great acceptance and understanding the relationship between men and women and power and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We're allowed to grow, right?
Hmm.
What is your favorite meal?
Ooh, like of the day or to eat?
Yes. um, yeah, however way you want to define
Mm.
meal.
Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna roll with like a dinner meal because
Okay.
breakfast is something I'm so hungry in the morning and it's always just like, everything sucks. Like what I want in the morning is like spaghetti.
Nice.
And that is not what I have in the morning
Yeah.
because I didn't make it. I should maybe just start doing that for myself. But anyway, I love like Greek food, Mediterranean food, Middle Eastern food,
Mm,
anything kind of around there. Like I love the dips and the garlic and the breads and the meat and the rice and potatoes and just like I feel like there's just so much good flavor that feels very like
yes.
fresh but also warm.
Mm,
So
hmm.
those anything along there is probably my favorite. That's more category rather than a specific meal, but that's what I'm giving you.
That's fine. I love it. Yeah, no, it's all that type of food is just so good. Mm.
Mhm.
All right, so you get to invite three people to a dinner, and they could be either living, dead, or fictional. Who would they be, and why?
Oh, interesting. This feels like such an interesting dinner party because it's probably gonna like go from like different areas of my life. But Audrey Hepburn,
Oh yeah.
I love her movies. Again, movies I probably haven't aged super well, but the 50s, 60s. Um, but I just thought she was a really amazing person.
Hmm.
Like she did a lot of um, philanthropy and activism, and I would just love to talk with her. Um,
Hmm.
but then even I feel like biblical characters would be interesting, and maybe not popular ones. Like I feel like I should be like Jesus. Like let's experience that, but also like Judas, who like if you're
Ah,
familiar is the betrayer.
yeah.
Yeah, the therapist in me is curious about him because I think he is seen as the betrayer and this like deceived one.
Hmm.
But I try to remember that he was human. So I'm curious what I would love to dig under that a little bit and be like, what was going on with you that made you do
Yeah.
that? So maybe not a popular answer, but I'm just nosy.
No, it's interesting because I also think like sometimes when people do things like that, sometimes they think that's the only thing they can do,
Yeah, like it
right?
feels like justified, right?
Yeah.
And I'm curious how he justified that action.
Hmm.
So, um, dead or alive, I can pick an alive person.
You could
I could.
or not.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at my bookshelf. There's like so many people that are so fascinating. I mean, chatting with Brene Brown would be great.
Yeah.
Also, Hillary McBride.
Yeah.
There's more possibility that I will actually cross paths with Hillary McBride in my life because we're both therapists living in the same city,
Ooh.
but also potentially unlikely. But I would love to chat with her too. So that was kind of four, but
Oh, whatever.
yeah, we'll roll with them.
Sure. I love it.
Interesting table. Judas, Brene Brown, Audrey Hepburn, and maybe Hillary McBride just for good measure.
Yeah. What an interesting conversation. Huh. To be a fly on the wall.
Lots of therapy for Judas, probably.
I could see that.
Brene is like, how are you feeling? How shameful are you feeling
Yeah.
after having betrayed Jesus Christ? Okay.
Oh man. Um yeah. What is something you'd like to say to the next generation of humans growing up in the world?
Mhm. Yeah, I think just that you're good. I think there's so much in the world that tells us that we're not good, that we have to be a certain way, that everything's falling apart and the sun's going to explode, and all of this like just zeitgeist full of negativity.
Mm.
And I think so few people like we're born coming into this world knowing that we're good, knowing that we're worthy of being fed and cared for, and we scream because we need a snack,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And now that I'm 31, I'm not allowed to do that. But like you don't, when you're 2 years old, you don't think, oh, I'm fat. If anything, we celebrate it. We're like, look at you, chunky little baby. We think you're adorable.
Aw.
Um, and so I just think, yeah, for the next generation to just know that they're good.
Mm.
Like there's nothing inherently wrong with you. You're human, and part of being human means to feel broken at times and to deal with hardship, but also to experience a lot of beauty. And it's a both and, which sucks. I wish it was just one part,
Yeah.
but no, it's everything. There's a full life out there. But at the root of it all, the person experiencing it is good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. Now I'm feeling so much grief. It's sad because I think that's all I've got. That's I guess that's the end of the conversation, and I don't want it
Hmm.
to end.
Yeah. Yeah, we could talk about this forever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's been wow. I'm excited to listen back. Honestly, I'm so excited to listen back and continuously listen to this and
Mm.
maybe learn, relearn, unlearn, relearn everything over and over
Hmm.
again. And that's just kind of the beauty of this type of medium of
Yeah.
conversation and recording it. And
Yeah.
to anyone listening, just know that whatever you're pursuing that's telling you that your body is not up to standard, that's probably coming from a place of being shamed themselves
Hmm.
societally, and you're just fine just the way you are. And
Hmm. Yeah.
that even if you are deeply wounded from conditioning and circumstances like I was, that there's still a way you can find gratitude in it. I think the healthiest way is just to recognize that both pain and joy are existing at the exact same time, and that is just
Yeah.
completely fine and normal. And
Hmm.
no trophy is worth sacrificing your humanity for.
No,
Yeah.
literally not. And like as you say that, I think about how important all those trophies were for me.
Mm.
And I don't have a single one left. I gave them away.
Wow. I'm...
They like I don't have any medals. I have some wigs, but none of those were necessary for me to hold on to anymore.
Wow.
And what became important was the memories and the experience, and that now I can do a jig on St. Patrick's Day, and it's like a fun fact that I can whip out at parties that I don't go to. But if I went to a party, I'd maybe do a jig and be like, "Look what I can do." But all that to say, right? Like it's
Yeah.
those things don't actually matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's plastic.
It's true. Like I've got
Yeah.
3 right now that are just gathering dust.
Yeah.
That's it. And I've got all the rest in boxes, and I don't know what to do with them.
Mhm.
And I don't
Yeah.
even know what they're for anymore.
Yeah.
And
But they meant everything at the time.
it was life or death.
Yeah.
That's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Alexandra, for
Yeah.
essentially holding my hand through this.
Mm.
And
Well, thank you for letting me. It's an honor.
my gosh, I hope maybe one day in the future we can do another conversation like this, because
Yeah.
wow, yeah, this is an important, meaningful conversation, and I just really love the flow and everything. Just the whole conversation
Mm.
was just lovely.
Mm. Thank you.
With that, I guess I'll just press end recording.
Perfect.
Um, right, my friends. There we go. Thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, it has been such a cathartic and healing experience, finally telling a bit about my story when it comes to being a former competitive Irish dancer. It's a lot of work to unpack. However, I've just been really finding myself trapped in patterns and spirals of thought where I am constantly thinking I am not good enough, I am too fat, I am not good looking enough, I will never be successful. And honestly, it's so hard to try to do anything else with your life when you're constantly caught in these thought patterns. So to have the opportunity to break down my story and to put it into a narrative, it's been really healing. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening and for supporting me. And I hope it is clear that there is a thank you but fuck you thing going on with Irish dance, where both gratitude and resentment are like conflicting with each other in my psyche right now when it comes to it. In the next episode, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that, I want to keep going with telling some stories from my years as a former competitive Irish dancer. What I'm feeling like I want to dive into is the perspective of an artist versus an athlete. And where do I think Irish dance should sit? Yeah, I have a few stories about that. So I think when I'm ready, that'll be the next topic. So I hope you'll tune in. And to Alexandra, I just want to say again, I don't know how many times I've said thank you, but thank you for hopping onto the podcast and for holding my hand through this experience and helping me through an incredibly vulnerable topic for me. I would love to have you on again, and I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I just know that the flow, the vibe, everything was just right. Something was Goldilocks about the whole thing. So, yeah, thanks again, and to Bramblings, just know that, yeah, you are going to be coming into a world that is very much toxic in a way where people really do value body image and how you look. And I really do want to try to protect you from these insecurities that you may be feeling. However, I can't. So long as we still live in a world where we are prizing certain bodies over others, I don't know if I can protect you from this insecurity. All I can do and say is, you are your body and your body is you. And we have to find a way where we can be partners with our body and love ourselves, love our physical form. It's really hard. It's really hard. I'm even catching myself kind of internally cringe saying that, because I'm just so conditioned and used to criticizing my body image. Oh, just know I love all of you, and I can't wait to hug you. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you so much everyone for listening, and bye for now. The Dear Brambling Podcast is a podcast dedicated to my little bramblings, to the next generation of humans growing up in the world, as well as to anyone who might be looking for a little more guidance in their life. It is hosted by me, Luc Benoit. Editing and sound design are by Cedar Picture and Sound, MB Productions, and Hideout Productions. The music that you're listening to is called Curiosity, and it's composed by Matthew Grazier at Grazier Music. The logo was designed by Misaki at Hostess Misaki on Twitch TV. And if you'd like to follow me on any social media, you can do so on Twitch as well as on Instagram at Lucatronosaurus Rex. And to anyone who is listening to the podcast this far in, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it. I do, however, need to say that this podcast was brought to you for education and entertainment purposes and should not be used as a substitute for actual licensed coaching, counseling, or therapy. If you are experiencing some sort of pain in your life and you need some help, I definitely recommend shopping around for the right coach, counselor, or therapist that is right for you. With all that being said, I really do hope that you're doing something today to take care of yourself, and I do hope that you have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.